Welcome to a new edition of the Famous Interviews with Joe Dimino. On this episode, we talk with author, teacher, cosmetologist, and salon owner Stephanie Jordan. She has 5 kids and 4 extra kids with her current husband, 9 total. She's been married, divorced, widowed, and remarried. She owns a salon company and publishing company and is currently career shifting to author, teacher, and speaker. She now lives in Birmingham, Alabama, and when she is not writing, speaking, or creating hair art, she can be found riding a Harley-Davidson Sportster 1200, flaunting new, healthy, gluten-free recipes on her cooking blog and Facebook page, painting, reading, watching movies with the family, and spending time outdoors. She has great stories. Enjoy this interview.
Good morning.
Hi, Stephanie. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. Nice to meet you. Thanks for taking a minute out today. You know, as we kind of get into, your life and what you do and how you've gotten to where you're at, I'm curious. We've lived through quite a tumultuous time over the last few years with COVID, and I'm curious how it changed what you do, any new perspectives on life that you got out of this 2-year period.
Well, that's a really loaded question. Absolutely. So I'm in a huge career shift. I've been a hairstylist for 24 years, and all of 2019, so I owned a salon storefront that I opened in 2012, and I always felt like God told me I would have the salon for 7 years. Well, 2019 was my 7th year, and we were growing like crazy. I had 11 staff members, and we were just super busy. And all of 2019, I had dreams of the salon going dark with my stuff in it. But I didn't know that was the shutdown until the shutdown happened. When the shutdown happened about 2 weeks in, I felt like God said, okay, close the salon and start writing. And I was like, no, I'm not ready for that. About another week later, it was like, you're done. You're finished. Time is up. And so I called my staff and I said, okay, I'm going to close the salon. And they were all stunned and they all kind of jumped ship. And I called my landlord and I said, I'm going to close the salon. He said, I'll give you the next year for free. And I was like, no, I'm done. And so I closed the salon storefront and moved into a little salon suite. And that's when I started writing my book, Believing in Boundaries. And now I'm in this huge career shift, and I feel like sometimes when we look at the external and it all seems crazy, it's really opportunity. And if we will take the time to not be afraid of the opportunity, but actually like grab a hold of opportunity, because opportunity can be really terrifying because it's unknown, right? So if we take the time to grab a hold of opportunity and I guess kind of ride the waves, if you picture it like a whitewater wave ride, like you just have to navigate it, and it's going to be scary and there might be some moments that you're screaming, but just take that opportunity and grab a hold of it. It can really enhance your life in some beautiful, beautiful ways. So change doesn't always have to be bad just because it looks bad on the outside.
Talk to me a little bit about growing up. How did you get this desire to write? You're obviously a highly motivated business owner. How did all of these wheels begin to turn for you in the beginning?
I've always been a writer and a storyteller. As a matter of fact, I used to drive my parents nuts because when I was little, every time we got in the car, I would talk the whole time, like just tell stories. And I have actually like little poems and songs instilled that I wrote back in elementary school. Like, it's always just been a part of my expression is the written word. And I love language, and I feel like there's something powerful about when you can express what you mean. Because, like, I have a lot of friends that they're not able to express. They're like, I don't even know how to say this. I don't know how to say this. And so I think when you're able to really express what you mean in word form, there's power to that, right? I'm an artist. I've always been a painter. I'm a terrible drawer. I draw like I'm in kindergarten. But I love to paint. And so words have always kind of been part of my art expression. And so I think that from the time when I was little bitty, as far back as I can remember, I've always loved the actual physical form of handwriting. And if I'm stressed or I'm processing something, if I will handwrite or write a poem or whatever, then it pours it out of my brain. And so it's almost therapeutic for me, and has always been a way that I've like processed kind of what I'm going through.
Yeah, it seems as though the creative process, and I know I'm in the same boat. I do visual arts and writing, and I do quite a few things. I find that to be in itself therapy. I probably saved myself a lot of money over the years in not going into therapy sessions, because art tends to be that for people.
Yes.
So,
absolutely.
So you have 9 kids.
Yes, I have birthed 5, and then with my husband, he has 4, so we have 9 together.
So you're like that. You're like the Brady Bunch Matrix that went crazy.
Yeah, I call us like the punk rock version of the Brady Bunch, like go big or go home.
So I remember years ago when the whole Duggar thing was a big deal, and I would watch that show, and I would see how all of the kids would kind of work in waves and help each other out. When you have that many kids, it's almost like running a business, I would think.
Oh, it absolutely is. So I was a widow. So I have my kids full time. There's no, every other weekend. There's no visitation, any of that sort of stuff. Where he's a divorcee, or divorcee, and so we have his kids like every other week. So it makes it a little bit difficult sometimes to get that groove going, where everybody knows their role and their place. So we have to really find a place of grace for each other in that area, because, we do have times where his kids aren't here. And like if I had visitation, we would have free time in those times where we don't have that. So we have to kind of be more diligent and purposeful to get time together alone. And the kids, they all, like, I'm big about respecting each other and not tearing each other down, we don't live insulting each other and all of that sort of stuff. And I believe that sarcasm is not a form of communication. I think our growing up in the 80s satire world has created poor communication among families. And, you'll hear people say, oh, I live by sarcasm. Well, sarcasm is not a form of communication, because you're actually saying what you don't mean. And so I believe in family, it's not their role to navigate what you're trying to say. So sarcasm has its place, and and it's made to be funny and satirical, and I'm okay with sarcasm being used in its place, but I don't allow sarcasm as a form of communication in the house for the reason of I don't want to have to navigate and figure out what you're meaning. I want you to say what you mean and mean what you say. And so I parent in that way too. So my kids they never have to navigate what I'm trying to say. And so the kids are able to really take me at my word and know that if I say something, I mean it. And I think that helps with clarification among the family. So, yeah, it is much like running a business in that everybody kind of has to know their role and their place and respect each other even in their differences and kind of work together to make things happen.
What do you like the best about being a parent? What's the most pleasing part of it for you?
Oh, wow. My kids are the best part of me. They're hilarious. Kids are so funny. Like, if you just sit back and watch them, like, interact with each other or the stories they tell you, there's really no shortness of funny. Like, their little brains and, you know, as they come into the teen years and, like, their uniqueness and I just love watching them, like, blossom into themselves and get to know themselves. It's really cool.
So let's dig into you a little bit more, especially on the writing end of things. What was the book growing up that you loved, that you've come back to, or that you just feel like really part of the curtains for you?
You know what's funny is my favorite book in high school was The Bridges of Madison County. which is probably not super impactful in any way, except that I was a hopeless romantic, and it was probably a terrible book to love because it did not give me any wisdom on how to make good romantic decisions. But, I mean, ultimately, if I'm honest, I'm a Christian and a passionate believer and follower of Jesus, and really the Bible has been the most impactful throughout my life. Like, even looking back as a child and not necessarily understanding all the deep, complex parts of learning who God is, but just always the confidence of having the ability to, like, trust and believe that I'm able to do more than I see has always kind of, I think, been a propelling force for me. So it wasn't that I had to know it all to be able to do it, because I wasn't necessarily just trusting in myself to make it all happen.
So if you could meet anybody alive right now that's on this planet, who would you meet? Who would you love to talk to?
Oh, if I could meet anybody alive right now. I would love to have a sit down with Christine Kane. She is a teacher and speaker, and I love her passion and her heart, and I think she's totally fascinating, and just her passion. I really love passionate people. So I think Christine Kane would be awesome.
What's been the best fan letter that you've ever received from anybody? Any feedback for what you've done? What's something that's resonated with you?
I had somebody message me on Facebook, actually just not too long ago, and she said, I just really respect your perspective on stuff, and I would like to hear what you have to say about, this situation. And she said, I always feel like your perspective, like, guides me in a good way, even if I don't fully agree with it. And I felt like she understood my heart, which I loved. like, I don't need you. I grew up in the punk scene, and so I don't need you to agree with me. But just giving me the acknowledgement that what I say has weight or value was awesome for me. And I guess it really just spoke to my heart, because that's kind of what I always hope that people are able to do, is like just hear perspective. Doesn't mean you have to totally agree with perspective, but if you'll just hear the perspective. So for her to want to hear my perspective and actually speak it out was a really huge compliment for me.
So what's next for you? If, let's say we talk in 5 years from now, and I'm asking you, how's everything going? What's been going on? What are you looking forward to, especially now in the context of the world's kind of opening up? I think we're all, whether we're in shock or not about the fact that we are somewhat kind of coming out of so many restrictions in our lives being turned upside down for the last couple of years. What are you looking forward to?
I intend to be writing. Hopefully I will have more book options, like a mind mapping one now to hopefully have out. And I want to be writing and teaching and speaking. So hopefully I'll be traveling again. I love to travel, and really I have done very minimal traveling in the last 2 years because I'm a little bit of a rebel. I'm not a good rule follower. And so one of my girlfriends was like, "Oh, I'm not taking you anywhere. You'll be trouble." And so, yeah, I'd like to get out and travel again and like meet people and do some cool stuff and eat some fun food and, get out there again.
Adulting, yeah, I get it. So what are you the proudest of? When you look at your life right now and kind of see it from, just kind of looking down on it, what is something that you're 100% totally all the time proud of?
In 2014, I became a widow with 5 children that I was homeschooling, and I was running a salon company storefront. And the fact that I survived all of that blows my mind. I mean, my youngest baby was 8 months old. I had an 8-month-old, a 2-year-old, a 7-year-old, a 9-year-old, a 13-year-old. My 13-year-old went into total and complete chaos and rage after my husband passed away. And then I had an 8-month-old and a 2-year-old. So that surviving that is, I'm the most proud of that. Absolutely. It's insane to me that I was able to make it through, that the kids have thrived, that, I kept my business. I mean, I just closed my business in 2020 voluntarily. So I kept the business open all that time. And I mean, I have to give the glory to God, because the only reason I'm even remotely sane, I did all of that unmedicated. And, it was just every day. I really believe in the principles of boundaries. I really believe in the principles of learning to say no and knowing your own limits, knowing what you can do. I really had to pull my life in a lot of ways. I had to depend on people. I had to ask people to help me, and I learned even what help looked like in that situation, and help that isn't helpful. So if you're wanting to help somebody, make sure that you're actually helping them and that it's not about you. And so I learned so much during that time, and the fact that we have just continued to thrive, it blows my mind. It is by far I always say, in the panoramic view of my life, that was my Mount Everest. And it's going to be beautiful in hindsight, but it was the hardest thing I have ever done.
So everyone has a perception of you, your family, your friends, your colleagues, those that read your books, but ultimately you're the one that's in charge of your life. You're living it. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
That's so funny because we were just discussing this yesterday. I think I'm fun-loving. Nobody else would describe me as fun-loving. I'm definitely indomitable. I like to take life by the horns. I'm passionate about everything. Everything I do is big, passionate, like I wear people out because my husband's always like, do we have to reinvent the world today? Like, can we not do this every day, please? I think I'm fun-loving because in my heart, everything I do is about cheerleading. I'm trying to cheerlead others to live their best life and to understand themselves better and self-reflecting to make sure that I'm cleaning my own mess as I go along so that I'm not hurting others with my mess. I definitely spend a lot of time trying to heal my broken places. And I lived a long time without even knowing what those were. So that's been a huge relationship healer for me in my life. So fun-loving would be how I describe myself. Indomitable spirit for sure.
I like it. That's perfect. Hey, thank you for opening up today. Thank you, Stephanie, for giving me a little time to open up and get a view into what makes you who you are. And before we get out, I want to make sure that we get to the good business of anybody that wants to get your books, find out about you, anything pertaining to you and your world, where is the best place for them to go?
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. It's been great to talk with you this morning. You can find my book on Amazon, Believing in Boundaries by Stephanie Jordan. And I'm working on a website. I'm kind of a one-man show, so I don't have all the tech stuff down, but you can also find me on Facebook at author Stephanie Jordan, which is my author page. And I'm on Instagram as The Recovering Southerner. And I talk about foods and my book stuff, boundaries, as well as like Enneagram things. So it's a full recovery. Recover your heart, recover your head, and recover your health.
Stephanie, thank you again. Good luck as we move forward. I appreciate your time again.
Thank you so much. You have a great day.
Thanks for tuning in to another famous interview with Joe Dimino, where we cover the world of art, literature, and business and music around the globe. If you want to hear more interviews, you can visit the Famous Interviews with Joe Dimino channel on YouTube. Thanks again for listening, and until next time.